take a look here. All right, let me try this again and see if it works.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Wowhead Weekly number 95. We didn't have a show last week, so we have twice as much stuff to talk about this week with all of the stuff that happened this Tuesday with the patch with the Emerald Nightmare, as well as World Bosses and PvP, all sorts of stuff. Plus, we've got 7.1 news, merchandise stuff, and so much more. But before we get into that, let me introduce my lovely co-host, Wowhead Site Manager, Perculia. Oh, weird transition. Sorry, Perk.
Hey, it's okay. Hey! I have a Pepe cardigan now. I'm super excited about that. They match.
It's
Yay,
so
birds.
cute.
And yeah, we have a super packed show because it's really rare to get a PTR so early in the cycle, especially when the raid patch is also really new.
Yeah.
But it happened, so we have all that. But before that all happened, we had this really surprising news that Metzen was retiring. So
Right?
the feels, we
this
should talk
was,
about that first.
This came at such a weird time because it wasn't like
Yeah.
like we're at like this, in my opinion, we're almost at like a renaissance period of World of Warcraft. Like people
Right.
are, it's been now almost a month since the expansion came out and people are still really passionately into it. It's not like,
Yeah.
I'm not really seeing much of a fall off compared to like where we were Warlords of Draenor like this time. And so to see someone so massive within the community and within, you know, the World of Warcraft world and universe announce his retirement was just really surprising. But then again, like, it's not that, right? Because
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's like from a business perspective, he worked on the movie, and the movie's coming out on DVD now, and like, he saw Legion through to completion, and that's live now, so like maybe this is a decent, it's a good time for a transition
well,
because like, the project he's responsible for, that they're finished as
yeah.
opposed to someone just leaving in the middle of something
Yeah, he
like
had a
that.
lot to do with Overwatch too, and Overwatch is fully launched too. And I think on top of that too, it's important to remember that he's been working for Blizzard for like 19, 20 years, and he spent his entire adult life, more than half of his entire life, working at Blizzard, and he's got a pretty good chunk of like stock. I don't literally mean stocks, but like he is clearly still involved.
Right, he was a vice president. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was
was the vice president.
so
It's not like he was a low-B customer service guy who is announcing his retirement. Like, he has more than he probably will ever need in a lifetime, and he has a wife and little kids, and it's like I said in my video, I kind of think that is the sort of the dream, right? Is to, like, do what you love, do it really well, be able to retire young.
And he said that he still wants to voice Thrall,
Yeah.
and in his retirement, he's like, this is actually retirement. It's not leaving for another game company.
And I think that's an important thing to remember, too, is that he's just like, well, I did the thing I wanted to do with my life, and now I get to hang out. And, I mean, good for him. I'm not mad about it. And I think it's really good to hear that it is a retirement and not going to another company, because that's always the scary thing, but he's not. I mean, he like you said, he saw through his projects and he moved on, and I certainly wish him all the best of luck and his family, and I do hope that we do see him and stuff at like BlizzCon and like.
It was so. I made this comment how looking at his IMDb page, it seemed that the last voiceovers he did were Thrall and Varian, and there's just a lot of feels if Varian was the last voiceover he did. So I feel a little less sad that he'll continue with Thrall, but it was kind of fitting that Varian. What happened at the Broken Shore is one of the last things he did in his role as creative director.
So, like, prior to Chris Metzen announcing his retirement, I had this, like, ongoing joke on my Twitter that the follower that I've chosen is, he's Hydraxis, but he's, like, the mini one, and he's voiced by Chris Metzen, but it's not, like, a voice act. It's, like, just Chris Metzen talking to you. So, like, when you're running around and you use his ability, it's like, the elements wash over you, but it's just Chris Metzen. He's just soggy Chris Metzen. So I feel like, at least for myself personally, Chris Metzen will live on.
And there's also Wintervale. He's still the reindeer.
So hopefully we'll see more little nods to him and stuff in game, because he's been an enormous part of the community for such a long time, and I feel like it's one of those things that we'll still be talking about Chris Metzen years and years after his retirement, and maybe he'll be one of those people who after a year he realizes that he can't leave and he'll come back.
Maybe he'll be like some sort of advisor that doesn't have to do the minutia, but he can just sort of come in and be a consultant. Also for people worrying about the storylines, like as you mentioned, he also worked on Overwatch a bit, and Legion has really cool stories, and we've seen some of the new 7.1 stuff, which is obviously going to continue into future patches. So,
I don't think
Legion
he
and the stories are in good place. Like it's not like, oh God, what's gonna happen to the lore? I mean,
I
there's
don't
like
think he's been
dozens of
super involved in like that aspect of the game for a few
yeah,
years at least.
right. And people are saying that Legion has really awesome stories and lore, and we're seeing these new characters that have, bigger roles, like the Nightfallen. So, Legion's story is in a good place, and that's not changing or
Yeah, and
going
I don't
anywhere.
think he had a
Yeah,
whole lot to do with that. I could be wrong, but
right.
that's my
Yeah. No,
understanding.
that's my understanding as well, too. Which, it's sort of like, okay, if someone that's well known is leaving, maybe on the flip side, you can, get someone fresh that has a different
Yeah,
perspective and
absolutely.
add to the story as well.
Absolutely. I'm happy to see someone retire on a good note, and this isn't,
Yeah.
like I said in my video, I just think that's like the goal is to, do what you love, be really successful at it, and get to retire early and enjoy life. And so
Yeah.
good for him. I'm not mad about it. And we wish him, from here, us at Wowhead, we wish him all of the best.
Yep.
Okay, so it was a huge patch this Tuesday. Massively
Yep.
huge patch this Tuesday.
Big
It had
patch.
the Emerald Nightmare, it had Mythic Plus dungeons, it had the start of all of the world bosses, our Season 1 competitive PvP, Brewfest, as well as some new quests available. So let's talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
Emerald Nightmare first.
Yeah. So it's Legion's first
It
raid.
is.
Normal and Heroic opened on September 20th
Mm-hmm.
for the US, 21st for EU, and Mythic and Wing 1 LFR will be September
So
27th.
Tuesday.
Yep. And there are 7 bosses in a semi non-linear setup, and you basically take dream portals around to corrupted old world areas, and
It's really cool.
there's lots of bosses that are throwbacks to past ones, like you might have, helped a green dragon and now they're corrupted.
Yeah, it's
So,
sad.
yeah.
It's really sad because you're
Yep.
seeing all of these granted, I'm not saying I recognize all of them, but like Ursoc is such a huge figurehead
Right.
in the lore. Like we know so much about Ursoc, and he's always been a good guy. So to like fight bad, evil Ursoc is it's
Right.
sad.
And then Dragons of Nightmare, where we used to farm the green
Mm-hmm.
dragons, and even Elerith Renferal was related to Alterac Valley. So there's lots of things.
Yeah, there's lots of things.
Yeah.
The loot for LFR, which comes out on Tuesday, is 835. Normal is 850. Heroic is 865, and Mythic will be 880. And of course, all of those have the chance to proc upgrades to I think it's called Titan Forged or Warforged.
Yep.
I don't know which is which. I can't keep.
Titan Forge is the big one that's over 10 item levels, over what you expect.
Oh, okay. Today I
Yeah.
learned. Today I learned. So my guild, you guys know I was kind of a hardcore raider. Not really. Like I was like a mildly hardcore raider last expansion. But my guild did go 13 out of 13 mythic, and this expansion we've recruited between like people coming back and their friends and family, and then the people we recruited towards the end of last expansion. We have so many people now. Like our attendance roster is like 49 or 50
That's
people.
really good.
Yeah, so
You
we're
could do
doing
like 2 mythic
yeah,
raids.
well, we're actually I'm going a very opposite direction because I have been so busy, particularly this year, and I don't really see
Right.
it letting up. I decided that I think I am going to lead like a more casual raid group that's
That'd be
not
fun. Yeah.
shoving progression, and then we'll also have this other group that does progression. It's nice because we'll swap people back and forth.
Right.
Like if people need a break, or maybe if people are doing really well, like we'll be able to move them around
Right.
and stuff.
Yeah.
If you're in my guild and watching this, this is unofficial, and I have not discussed this with any of the officers. This was a decision I made in my head
Surprise.
without anybody else's
Yeah.
know-how. But we had a blast. We did one group of normal and one group of heroic last night, and it was just a ton of fun. Like we just had a lot of fun, and everybody was so impressed with the way the raid looked, and it was so detailed and so pretty. And
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't rated it, it's this very like dark red, corrupted environment, like twisted trees everywhere.
but you like go to
corrupted-
different areas, and they
Yeah,
look
like
sort of
Grizzly
different.
Hills. Yeah, so it's a lot. It's like a lot of throwbacks to places from Vanilla WoW,
Yeah.
but having this weird, druidic, sad take on it.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
nice. It's a lot of people were really impressed with it, and so far the bosses have been really fun too. And they're a mixture of kind of newer mechanics as well as stuff we've seen, like oh, this boss is similar to Spine of Deathwing, or this boss is similar to
yeah,
something from this raid, and I think that's really fun. Always, it's always it. What was weird to me, right, is that we raided last night, and it was with a group of people that we had about 10 of the newer recruits or like coming back people, and then we had about 10 of our like core raiders.
right.
And it was so bizarre to me because we went in and I think we killed 4 or 5 bosses because we were just doing normal, and it was so odd because it was so fun, but it felt nostalgic. even though it was
Right.
like
I mean, yeah,
bosses I
because they
hadn't.
have all the bosses from that
Yeah,
you've seen them before in different ways, and also it's really cool how it ties in with the lore of Valshara because every I mean it's pretty much mandatory that you have to go through Valshara eventually for Broken Isles Pathfinder.
yeah,
So I mean, like Valshara is like a very emotional
yeah.
zone
It
that
is.
has lots of throwbacks to Malfurion and Tyrande is there, and lots of Druidic references. So you have all this backstory that invests you in Emerald Nightmare, like even before you step in. Like if you're not a raider, like you probably want to go to Emerald Nightmare to get back at Xavius after the end of Valshara, which is
Yeah,
something that usually the first raid we don't really connect with it as much. Like, Heimal was a bunch of
it was just
ogres.
ogres.
And then, Mists of Pandaria, there were so many new things like Mogushan Vaults. It's like, oh, the Mogu, like they're this brand new race, and we know they were mean to the Pandaren, and the zone is super glitzy, but like it was like very hard to
Yeah, we didn't have like
the
that
connection. Yeah,
connection.
but this feels like very like steeped in stories that we've been looking forward to for years and famous figures. So I think it's good. Hopefully, I wonder, it would be fun to see the numbers on people that weren't rating that maybe are rating now because they just want to get back
Yeah,
at
and not
Zab.
only that, but like we had talked about this, I think last show that I thought that one of the things they did really well in Legion was portraying a story, even for those people who aren't necessarily reading every word of the quests. And
Right.
when you walk into the Emerald Nightmare and you see the first person you see is Nathendra, is that her name?
Yeah, the
Um,
yeah the dragon.
yeah, the
Yeah.
dragon. You see her, and it's very evident just looking at her that she has been wrecked, like for lack of better words, by something very evil. She's almost skeletal. Her skin is like just hanging off of her bones. She's gray. She's red. It's like without even having any context to that raid, you walk in and you're like, ooh, something bad happened to her.
Right. I think it's like show. It's more like show, don't tell.
Yeah.
So like it's good if you don't read all the quest text, but you just like a picture's worth 1,000 words.
And I felt like that was really, really, really captured in the Emerald Nightmare, especially when you get past that and you start choosing which zones you want to go into. And you
Right.
can see, like, you're going into these beautiful zones, and you get to this area, and it's just, like, evil and slimy
Right.
and corrupted and just clearly not okay in any way, shape, or form. And I just really appreciate that they were able to convey so much,
Right.
even to those people who maybe aren't following the story that closely.
Right. Like, and even when you do get to the last boss and you cleanse some of that area and how the special dream whelpling spawns that's, happy and
Yeah.
healthy, like it's just really neat how the zone can change to reflect that, hey, you actually did something, like you made your mark, which is something you don't always feel in an outdoor zone. Like, you finished it and it's like, oh, the zone is still half on fire like Westfall.
Yeah, and then also, so this is another thing that we haven't seen in a really long time, but the bosses in Emerald Nightmare are really tied to professions. So I feel like
Yeah,
we
and like
used to,
all these cool rewards, which
yeah,
is
like
neat. Yeah.
as a scribe, I was getting like the Vantage runes or
Yeah.
the stuff they're called.
Vantus. Yeah, Vantus runes, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah.
Vantage runes, excuse
You.
me. So I got those. You get one off of every boss, and that modifies the way you like function, I guess, for like a week, for lack of better words. Like
Yeah, you're like
I
stronger against one.
Yeah, I like used Vantis runes against the dragons of the nightmare, and it makes you gain like 1,000 versatility whenever you're fighting them, and they sell for a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot, a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, so just a quick rundown because each boss has something unique. Nathendra has items for alchemy and skinning perks. Elareth has Mark of the Hidden Army for Enchanters rank 3. Il'gynoth has a hidden appearance for the Shadow Priest artifact.
That's so
There's
cool.
I know. It's super cool. Also, like he has special lines against the boss, so there's lots of lore speculation as to what it means, because, old gods hype.
Yeah,
Ursoc has hidden appearances for Guardian Druids and Survival Hunters, as well as Mark of the Hidden Hide for Enchanters. Dragons of Nightmare has the hidden appearance for Mistweaver Monks, as well as the Nightmare Whelpling Pet, who is back there. There's a plushie version of him, too. Scenarios you need for an herbalism quest. And Xavius has the Dream Whelpling pet after you defeat him. It just spawns with, little cute happy pets. Illusion Nightmare, which turns your weapon red and black. The Hidden Satyr enchant for enchanters. And you need to also kill him for the Stuff of Dreams, which is needed for the Night Fallen Suramar achievement. After you do that quest, you finish growing the tree, and the tree in Shalaran is happy, and all the Nightfallen are happy.
I love the Nightfallen. I love them. Like,
I know, they are my favorite
I
people.
really like them a lot. So we're gonna talk about this in a little while, but I am
Okay.
so far behind in Suramar, it's unreal. I'm
I
so
am
far
gonna
behind.
hit revered tomorrow, I think.
Stop it. My
So,
my dog is going out in a
oh,
second. I'm sorry for him crying in the back. He gets freaked out when I'm talking to people on the computer. He
oh
thinks
no,
I'm crazy. He's like
oh no,
whining and crying at me like I'm over here. Like you're talking to
right,
someone that's not there. You're crazy. Which is kind of adorable. But so I finally am caught up for the most part. Like I have my third artifact slot, like my third relic. I'm at the point. I think my next artifact point costs like 18,000 artifact power or something like that. So I'm pretty much almost up to speed with where
right,
I should be, except for Suramar questing. I'm very far behind on Suramar quests.
right.
I gotta get caught up because we're gonna talk about this in a minute. But there's new Suramar stuff coming.
Yeah,
So
before we move on to Mythic Dungeons, I just want to give a plug to the as you're doing that, to the Wowhead guides for raid strategies. We have strategy guides up for all bosses with tips for all difficulties. They have pictures, they have diagrams, they have a TLDR, quick tips if you don't want to read everything. They explain stuff in detail if you're a raid leader.
yep.
They have a lot of awesome stuff in there.
I think the best part is that there's a breakdown on every boss of if you're a healer, you need to know
Yeah,
this. If you're a DPS, you need to know this. And I'm not saying that that's the only thing you should read, right? But like if you watch your videos and like you've read the guides, like I always think it's a good idea for like just before you do that boss, go just peek at those quick tips because it'll jog some stuff in your memory, and I think they're really well done. So,
awesome. And they were done by Dayani, who's also
oh
known
yeah,
as Healing
she's
Center
awesome.
on Twitter. Yeah, she's also done like all the guides for Warlord. She does
She
all the
made the
dungeon
Gorfine
guides.
cookies.
Yeah, she also made awesome Gorfine cookies. So yeah, she's really cool. We also have a gear and relic chart. People really like the relic chart. Like I did a little breakdown of like all the spec icons, and then I
Mm-hmm.
did a chart showing like, hey, like these 11 classes have the iron relic, and like these two bosses have the iron relic.
That's
So
hugely helpful because what's weird is right, like when a random relic drops, it doesn't necessarily say
no,
unusable, which
yeah,
is
it's
very
just like,
bizarre to
hey,
me.
I have a
Like,
relic, and I buff an ability, but I won't say what I do. It's
yeah, because
like,
I was master
okay,
eluding yesterday, and like a blood relic dropped, and I definitely can't use blood relics, but it didn't say like not usable or like
right,
only, which I thought was very bizarre, and I think they should update that because people are just not gonna know and they're gonna roll on it, and I don't
yep,
even blame them because usually the game is better at telling you when you
right,
can't use something
exactly.
or when you can. Although I'm gonna go ahead and say like the way that artifact relic works are a little bit weird, anyways. Like I play Resto and Elemental, and like I have two life relics and then a frost relic, but like frost relic has like frost does not say Resto to me at all. Like nothing. Like I mean, I use like
Yeah,
lava
I mean,
burst and flame shock sometimes, but I don't ever use frosty abilities on Resto Shaman ever. And then like
yeah.
then
There's also the breakdown's a little weird. Like Fel only has 5 specs, I think, and then Iron has something like 11.
yeah.
So, it definitely feels like some relics have more
Yeah, I
representation than
mean
others.
we're in. I mean we're not literally in beta, but it feels like we're in the beta of this feature. You know, like if they
Yeah.
were to continue doing this, they would make improvements, and they
Yeah,
will.
also, yeah, side note about World Quest and relics, like you never seem to get relics for your main spec, or it's like, oh, here's this relic type that
You
is for
can't use.
this boss.
I am
You
forever
like,
getting agility trinkets. That's like the most
yeah,
common reward, and I do not play enhancement, so it's like
it's
so
like I don't
useless.
have the Vengeance artifact unlocked, but I'm getting relics for it. And like I can maybe see if I had the artifact unlocked, but I don't. So I'm like, is this meant to be a way to motivate me to get
It's
the
not
other ones?
working. It's not. See, I
Yeah,
could at least see. I wouldn't mind if it wasn't just for like my main spec or my off spec, but it's so strange to me, like that someone like a mage, for instance, like are they going to get agility gear too, or is it based on like your class as a whole? Because someone like druids or shamans are like
right,
kind of getting the short end of the stick on rewards compared to like a mage or a priest, where the rewards are pretty similar for every spec.
right.
So I do kind of wish that your world quest went by your loot spec only for those specific reasons because and I'm not sure like if mages have a chance to get agility gear, which I can't imagine that they do, like
Right.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't bother me so much, but like literally if you
It's like,
play
oh,
a class like
surprise
a
hybrid
hunter or
gear.
something right now, you have a distinct advantage.
Right. One more thing before we go to Mythic Dungeons quickly, we also have a guide to recommended consumables. So if you're like, what is a Vantus rune or what's a flask, you can check all that stuff
So
on WoW.
expensive.
Yeah, on the Wowhead item pages, we have an average buyout price in Quick Facts, and if you click
Ugh.
on that, you can see the breakdown of everything on the Undermine journal, so you can see, what's expensive, or maybe you should buy the herbs instead of the actual flask, and all that good stuff. And if you're not sure how to craft them or find someone to craft them, we have profession guides that explain all the quest lines that lead up to getting a recipe.
Yep. I still haven't done my Obliterum quest because every time I go down into the underbelly, I just get rocked and then I'm done.
Yep.
Like, I don't need Obliterum that bad anyways. And then I leave. I've gone down in the sewers probably on 6 different occasions now to try to catch the blind rat, and I always get within about this far of it, and then some jerk comes and kills it.
Oh.
Sorry. It's been bothering me. Anyways, on top of the Emerald Nightmare, we also got Mythic Plus dungeons, which, if you're unfamiliar with them, it's because they're brand new. They're basically a replacement for challenge modes. Challenge modes in Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor were like a scaled version of the dungeon, where all of your gear kind of came down to a level, so your gear didn't matter, and you were supposed to go through it within a certain amount of time, and if you reach one timer, you got bronze, another timer that was faster silver, another timer that was faster gold. And I think one of the reasons that they changed this is because when I said gear doesn't matter in air quotes, what I really meant was Blizzard didn't want gear to matter, but people are so mathematical that they...
And your spec then matter. Like, oh, this is the optimal composition for this dungeon, and
it got really, really min-maxy as far as like people going back and farming. Like, oh, I need to go to this random Mists of Pandaria dungeon to get this one piece of gear because it scales well, and so I don't.
It has a gem socket. The
idea was, it's based on your skill and nothing else. But what really ended up happening was who was willing to do the most kind of side work and leg work to make it work. So now we have Mythic Plus dungeons, which I believe like a level. I think you start at level 2, right? Because like level 1 would technically be Mythic.
Right. So you have to run. Well, one person who wants to initiate the group has to run a Mythic regular dungeon, and then you'll get the keystone at the end, and then that keystone will be for level 2. Then going up. So Mythic Plus starts at 2.
Yeah. So and then you go through, and there is a timer, but it's not. Like, there's the add-ons that you can download and stuff to see, because the faster you do it, the more rewards you do get. But it's not really the same way as, like, in Mists of Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor. Like, you had to get certain times to get gold level.
Right, and it was very tight, and there was only 3 levels. But with this, it's like a sliding scale where it goes from level 2 all the way up to 15.
Yeah.
And... yeah, so it's like,
very hard,
if you do really badly...
Like, that sounds like, level 2, no big deal. Like, no, level 2 is significantly harder than a regular Mythic dungeon. It definitely requires everybody to do things that their class can do.
So a few notes on why they get harder. So at each level, the bosses, I believe they hit harder. I'm pulling up the details actually right now so I don't say something wrong.
Can confirm they hit harder.
Yes. So in addition to hitting harder, they also gain a special affix at levels 4, 7, and 10, which means it's like Diablo style. They do something else.
Yeah.
And the ones at level between 4 and 7, it can be 1 out of 8 random affixes. And then at 10, there's 2 special ones it can be between because it's super hard.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the same across the board for everyone, 1 week to the next. And they change every week because, going back to what I said about, spec and gear mattering too much in challenge modes, the idea is that different combinations favor different specs, so there's not one set group that's going to shine doing Mythic Plus, which I think is a good change.
It's a huge deal.
It's interesting. Yeah.
It's a huge deal. I already find myself, so I main a Resto Shaman, and I'm already at the point in Legion where, like, I almost regret playing a Resto Shaman because there's so much outdoor solo content and there's so much to do that it feels like I have to respec. Like, you really are so much more effective as Elemental than you are as Resto using Elemental abilities. But then, like, it's sort of, like breaks my immersion a little bit. And I know that sounds sort of lame, like, ooh, my immersion, but, like, I think of myself as a Resto Shaman, not just a shaman, not an elemental shaman.
Interesting, because it's like Blizzard wants you, I think they really want you to feel for your class, but it seems like with the loot changes you mentioned, they want you to switch between specs, but, you on the other hand are like, man, I did this artifact for my spec, I want to feel like I'm the spec, not the class.
Well, and it's also, like, sort of a bummer, right, because I'm, like, earning all of my artifact power as elemental to just respec and use it as Resto, and I just... Like, I understand that they don't, in my opinion, I thought of this yesterday, I think there were better ways to handle, like, it's certainly better than it was. Like, I leveled up the first 2 or 3 levels as Resto, and I could do it, and it was fine. It took me a really long time to kill stuff, but I didn't die, so, like, I had that going for me. But there's such a difference. Like at level 110, it's worth playing as elemental. Like you're going to be so much slower as resto. I just
I feel
feel
like they should work on changing. I mean, it seems like something they should look at because a lot of questions during the beta and Q&As were like, will healers be able to level? Like, if you want the healer identity, can you be a healer? And it seems like it was okay while leveling, but now we've moved into a situation where it's not
well,
so
it's so
much fun.
suboptimal. It's not that it's not
Right.
possible, but like it's so much less efficient and it's so much less just optimal that it doesn't make sense to do it. And
Right.
like in my opinion, I feel like there was a better way to handle that than be like, oh well, we gave restos like these types of procs. And I just feel like if you're a healer, like you should get like a buff or something, like when you're out in solo content, like not killing rares and just when you're doing quests,
Right.
like just give me like a 50% damage buff,
Yeah.
like
I
that
also
turns
feel,
off in
yeah.
PvP. I'm not asking for group things, anything like that. But if I am 100% by myself, just let me do more damage. Like let me do as much damage as a DPS.
Right. And that also seems, I mean, I'm just thinking about Withered Army, which seems very OP if you're a tank because you can have aggro on things.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, if you're a DPS, you know, like if you're DPS, it's like, oh, your strength is soloing, and then if you're a tank, it's this neat perk that for Withered Army stuff is easier, and then it's like, well, if you're a healer, you don't sort of
Yeah,
have
it's
it's not
definitely
like
better
it's not
than
like,
it
oh, like I
was.
can't really heal my Withered Army, like
Well, I
you
don't.
know,
Okay,
sort
so
of
I
just
don't
gotta
have
show
any
stick
sort.
there.
Like I have a bodyguard, right? But I was really far
Yeah.
behind, so I couldn't use my bodyguard for like 2 weeks because I was so far behind. I needed to spam missions because you have to do those 5
Oh, right.
Firelands
Yep.
missions. Like
Yep.
you couldn't. I couldn't not do that because I was really like harming myself in the long run. So I wasn't able to have a bodyguard on top of like already being a little like my elemental weapon is a little bit behind. It does have its 3 slots now, and the last
Right.
time we talked, I didn't have any artifact relics, and that was like really problematic. Since then, I've gotten a bunch, and like we're
That's
in
good.
much better shape now. But it's not really about that I can't do it as elemental because I can. It's just that I play a resto shaman and
Right.
constantly
Like
respecking
that's what
just
you wanted to be.
that's what I wanted
Yeah.
to be. Or like let me have some sort of bodyguard. Like if you're saying tanks get like withered army, let me have some sort of bodyguard that like tanks and does damage, and then I can do damage from afar, and maybe I have to heal that guy in order to keep him alive
Yeah.
to help me quest. I don't know. It just feels like I do not play a resto shaman unless I'm in a 5-man group or higher. Like it's other than that, I just play
Right.
elemental, and it's just not what I
Yeah.
wanted to do.
Yeah. I
It
agree.
makes me jealous of people who play like hunters and mages and things where they're not actually expected to do anything not important,
Right.
but you know, that responsibility role of being a tank or a healer. Like even a tank though, I don't think this goes for them because tanks still do a lot of damage and they can pull 2 or 3 at a time, and they're still very efficient. You like if you were actually go
Right.
out
It's good for tanking rares and elites, and
oh
as you
yeah.
mentioned with
Oh yeah.
army.
I mean, there's
So
a lot of
I think
reasons
it's an
that
extra
like
outdoor
being a tank,
perks.
you're still capable. But like I had to do my artifact, my quest to get my 3rd artifact slot after I finished the 5 Firelands things. It sends you to the Firelands to like
Right.
fight bosses. That's not possible to do as resto. Like that's I don't care how good you are. I don't. It is not like it would take you 5 times as long for sure because there's all the trash. You have to
Right.
avoid the trash or kill the trash, and then you have to go to the boss and you have to kill the boss. And like you do such compared to elemental, you do like half the amount of DPS. Like why would you ever do that? And then it's like so okay, I'm questing specifically for my restoration artifact, having to quest as elemental just
Right.
seems silly.
That does seem a bit strange.
Why not give me a quest to go
Yeah.
heal a guy while he's doing this, or put me in a fake party like they did that for the druid artifact weapon? They put you in a party if you're playing resto and you have to heal the tank NPC, and it's really cool the way they did it. So I felt like it was so bizarre that I guess maybe it was for all shamans. That's probably why it was probably in every shaman.
Right. So your
quest.
the initial quest is for all. The initial quest is by spec, and then the main
Yeah.
quest line is for class. And I think maybe one reason why it feels a bit weird is that Blizzard didn't really test it very much. I think during the beta, like I don't think very
Typical
many people.
Blizzard.
I don't. I mean, I don't think the way it was set up, a lot of people got through to the end of it, and you know, because like you'd have to do like weeks of missions, and who wants to do missions on beta when you're doing missions on your garrison?
Yeah.
So I feel like this was something that was perhaps overlooked because no one would be like,
Such
"Oh,
a
let me
it's
do
also
missions
a
on my
small
healer."
gripe. It's not. I mean,
Right.
I'm not saying the game
Right.
is broken. I clearly did it. It's just one of those things where like I find myself looking to level an alt now, and I'm definitely gonna level like a hunter or a mage or something where like I can always play the same spec and like get into being that spec and feel comfortable as that spec, and I don't constantly
Right.
have
That's
to go go
Good
back and
feedback.
forth.
Yeah.
Because right now I do. Like at this point, unless I'm in Raid or Dungeon, I'm playing Elemental, which in my opinion feels kind of bad because I'm not an Elemental Shaman. But that's such a personal
Yeah.
gripe. It's not really anyone else. I don't
We
know how we
should we
got
should get
here.
back to Mythic Plus. We were
I'm
in the middle.
sorry. I don't even
Yeah.
know how this happened, but Mythic Plus is cool, man, and it's really
Yeah.
hard. It's
So
really hard.
we it's oh yeah, loot. So Mythic Plus has two ways to get loot.
Yep.
The final boss, two of the players will get loot, and then the week after, you will have a big chest in your class hall, which will have loot that reflects the highest level difficulty you completed the week
Whoa.
before, and a keystone that's like 70% of the way there, so you're encouraged to go back the next
Yeah.
week. And the loot will get progressively better up to level 10,
Yep.
but then between 10 and 15 it just stays the same, and it's just for bragging rights, and then at 15 you unlock an artifact appearance.
That's really cool.
So that's what it is, and all dungeons have Mythic Plus difficulties except for Violet Hold. People do recommend that running Violet Hold is like the easiest way to get your keystone though on like Mythic Zero, because it's a pretty short dungeon. And
It's a fun one
yeah,
too. I really like I like
I
Violet
like all the
Hold.
throwbacks to Wrath of the Lich King that
Yes.
there, like the Lonathel reference and Mana Storm
Yeah.
and Festergut and Putricide. So
I also
that's
like that it's different. I think it's like fun if you get it a couple times. Like you're seeing different bosses and stuff, so it doesn't feel quite so repetitive.
right. It also feels very immersive. Like, Violet Hold was there in Wrath Dalaran, and now it's still there, and they have new
Yes.
prisoners.
Well,
So
and I
that's,
also like that that's where you go pick up your rerolls. Like if you guys are rating or
yeah,
anything, and
that's similar to Wrath of the Lich King.
yeah, like you used to always pick up your dailies there, and now you pick up your weekly rerolls there, which I thought was like a really cute nod as well.
Yep. So before we go on to world bosses, just we also have a guide to Mythic Plus dungeons
Yep.
that go into all the nitty gritty. Like if you're like, what happens if I fail the run? Like what happens to my keystone if I succeed at the run? I don't have a keystone. Can I still do Mythic Plus? What are the lockouts? What does each affix do? Like, are there tips to defeating each one? What's good and bad for my spec? All that stuff is in the guide. So yeah, I'm actually really impressed just looking at stats, how well that guide is doing, because we're seeing the raid guides in the evening like do really well being at the top, but then like in the middle of the day, or like when it's super late and the raid ends, the Mythic Plus guide is really popular on this site. So to me that shows that when people are looking for something to do, they're actually doing Mythic Plus. They're not turned off or thinking it's too difficult like challenge modes. People are actively looking and reading that guide.
Oh yeah. Well, I think part of it too is that it starts off at such a low difficulty that it feels
Yeah.
obtainable, whereas challenge modes, like nobody was going to go in and get gold the first time, like, but that's not how Mythic Pluses are meant to work. You're not supposed to have the highest one the first time, so it's
Right.
like you go in and you do 2, and if you do well then it levels up to 4, and if you do well it levels up to 7, so it feels much more. I've felt that this whole expansion though is that there's so much that feels rewarding. I feel like world quests in
I feel like it
general.
tries to space you out, and like each little thing is rewarding, and it also tries to help the player pace themselves. So, like in challenge mode, you could just like bang your head against a wall, only trying to get gold and thinking that's like the only thing to go for.
Yeah.
Or like I have to do my 25 dailies today or else.
Yeah.
Or like I need to kill all the outdoor mobs and warlords to hit exalted or else. But now it's like, no, like the world quest will spawn like very sporadically, and oh look, you still got loot for doing Mythic 3 even though it's not 15. Like it's like you feel like each little step you can do something, and the game sort of has these prevention mechanisms for like feeling that you have to do everything at once, or that there's only like one end goal that's
Well,
really
there's
far off.
there's also such a nice variety of, if you are someone who only maybe has an hour a day to play, which I don't think
Yeah.
that's like out of question, right? Like if you have
No.
if you
Yeah,
have a
there's a lot of
family and a
adults.
job and
Yeah.
stuff, but like in
Yeah.
an hour you could do your emissary quests. Maybe if there's another quest that has like an upgrade for you, you can do that. Maybe you have time to do a dungeon. Like you can accomplish as much as you feel is like good for you, and then if you want to do more you can. And then so I feel like there's such a good mix of like it's possible to play in a casual way and still feel rewarded, but then it's also more rewarding for people who want to play more than casually.
Right. The one thing I will say about dungeons and world quests though is that the rewards for dungeons for doing the world quests do not seem very rewarding right now, and I think Muffinus on Twitter was asking about how to make them more exciting because they'll give you a piece of loot and maybe you have the same piece of loot from an outdoor world quest. So it's like, why do you want to go through this dungeon to get an item that has a base of eye level 825 when you could, kill 10, corrupted druids and get something that's better.
Yeah,
So I feel like
if you're at the point where you're like, oh my god, yes, 825, like you're pretty far behind anyway, so
right, but it just
yeah.
feels like you could do something that takes like
See,
5 minutes
I
and
look
no
at that the
effort and get
opposite way
upgrades.
because right now, like most when I'm getting exciting things, it's like 840. It's like, ooh, I'm replacing some of my old quest gear, right? And like once in a while, there is a quest that's like just go kill 10 things, you get an 840. But usually, the better loot is from dungeon quests or harder quests
I
or
think
group
I'm in
quests.
like this weird casual level where like it's often not like
Oh,
yeah, like I'm getting like epics from outdoor world quests and some heroic recommendations from dungeon bosses.
hmm.
And it just yeah, so it's just this weird in between thing and I feel like people have suggested all sorts of things on Twitter like, maybe the special boss could give a curious coin or there could be like a cool rep token or just, something for the reward of deciding to engage with a group of 4 other players and, take the effort to make a party and go do something together.
Yeah, no,
So,
that's not a terrible. I mean, it should definitely be. I look at it though is that if you go and do that dungeon, there's other chances to get rewards as well.
right. I mean, I think that is meant to be the point, but it's like as we keep progressing onwards, I think that people will be like, "Oh, like I have raid gear, like let me do something quick for shards." Like, "Oh, I can do this, quest for shards," or like I could go do this dungeon and maybe not get anything. So, I don't know.
Right.
I think the dungeon rewards could be a little bit better, but again, that's sort of a minor complaint. Like it is really cool that if you do only have an hour, you could do some world quest and feel like you got upgrades and feel happy. But I think that the dungeon ones could be just a touch more rewarding.
I'm curious as to why Mythic Plus dungeons only drop one piece of like only drop loot
Two
off the
pieces.
last boss.
I mean, so they don't have a lockout, and Mythic
Ah,
Plus is sort of this weird thing where I don't believe you can do quest objectives in them.
no.
So like, yeah, maybe it's not
That
like you
makes
actually,
sense.
yeah,
That
it's
makes
just set
sense
up.
because
Yeah,
there's no lockout. I didn't really consider that. It just seems like a lot of work for 40% of the raid or 40% of the group to maybe get
right.
loot. But
Well,
I
I
don't know.
mean,
I'm
like
not a very loot.
your keystone is going to get upgraded, so you can do a better one to get even more loot, and then finishing the dungeon like directly affects the loot you will get at the end of the week. So like everyone who participates will still get something in their class hall.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good
So
point. That's
yeah,
a good
and
point.
during the beta, I think everyone got something, but it just felt like too much. Like
Yeah, it
there's no
probably did feel like
lockout.
too much. It probably did feel like too much. I
Yeah.
almost wish though, is if they were only gonna do boss loot off the last boss, that everybody could get a piece of loot. I guess instead of like even if it wasn't as good. I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't matter at all. World bosses though, that's
Yeah.
cool. Nidhogg is up this week.
I know.
I
He's
just looked
like
at him.
everyone like hates Nithog because
Why?
did you do the Raven Bear quest?
Ooh, I don't.
Anyway, he was mean.
Oh.
He was mean to like things we cared about that were cute.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that. I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, though, you're right. You're right. I did a lot of questing at like 6 in the morning, and some of it's just kind of in one ear and out the other. Because I pulled a couple all nighters when it first came out because I knew I was going to be traveling. So I feel like there's a lot of WoW that just turned into a blur in my brain.
So yeah, there's 11 world bosses and
This is so
one is
cool.
up.
This is such a
Yeah,
cool thing that they did.
I
Oh,
know.
sorry.
So
I
there's
didn't
11
get
and then
excited.
one is up with a world quest and there are two types of rewards you can get. When you kill the boss, you get a reward. You get the reward from the world quest, and then the boss on its own has a loot table which can have eye level 860 loot,
Yep.
and you can use the bonus roll coin on it.
Yep.
And the loot is set up so like each boss like only drops gear for a certain slot. So
Yeah.
like there's like the head boss, the shoulder boss, and then they have one type of relic and one type of accessory like a cape or a ring.
Yep.
And there's some actually cool stuff that can drop when you kill 8 of them. You can unlock the Unleashed Monstrosities achievement and artifact hint.
Ooh.
And they want to say the enhancement shaman artifact appearance can drop from them, and some like Vantus rune recipes. So there's some quirky things you can get.
I was excited.
And
I got an 865
yeah,
ring with a socket off a Nidhogg this week.
Nice. Oh yeah, good reminder. It can be Titan forged.
Yep.
So you can get pretty awesome loot from them.
Yeah.
And we even added it to the Today in Broken Isle section on the front page. So if you're
Yay.
not sure what to do, we have a new section called World Boss, and it goes to whatever world quest is up that week. So,
There
check
was
back next Tuesday.
So this is something that I would have never thought being problematic, but I witnessed it firsthand being
Okay.
problematic.
All
So
right.
there's a kid in my guild who I think he played a long time ago and he just started playing again, and the I don't know how the world like I knew Nidhogg was the world boss like
Yeah.
from beta stuff, but he did not. So when his
Okay.
world quest popped up and was like, "Hey, get a piece of 860 loot," he just walked up and got rocked by Nidhogg. Like, did not realize that was
Oops.
something he needed a bunch of people to do. So I'm not sure how
Yeah.
that world quest is written because, like I said, I just kind of did it because I knew what it was. But
Right.
I feel like maybe it should be indicated somewhere that that is a
So
large group
on the
event.
mini map, it has the like the dragon icon around it,
Yeah.
and the color of the quest is purple. So if he'd been doing World Quest, he could have extrapolated like, oh, the
Yeah.
dragon and blue quest are kind of bad. Maybe Nithog is a scarier version of that, or gee, he drops a lot of
I think
gold.
it's
Like
because
this.
he's outside. It was a little
Right.
more like I feel like it should just say world boss. Does it? I don't even know if it does.
I mean, they are in the dungeon journal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, new way of doing things. Maybe it will, maybe they'll improve it
I
as
mean, it
time
made me
goes on.
laugh.
Yeah, it's also kind of, I mean, I was also surprised you mentioned that because at least when I went to kill Nithog, like the area was just massive lag because hundreds of
Yeah.
people were
Well, he
killing
went on
Nithog.
like he didn't go until Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, okay.
So it had like cleared out a lot, and then he was just like, "Oh, guys, there's this epic quest. I'm gonna go try to do it." Oh man, I got rocked, and I was like, "Wait, what? Did you try to solo Nidhogg?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I did." And I was like, "You can't do that." Oh, honey.
Yep. Um,
Oh,
Yeah, so we should get through season one PvP quickly.
yeah.
So competitive PvP is now open, which means arenas and rated battlegrounds. Um, as mentioned, when Legion came out, the new Legion honor system is that honor is not a currency, but it's instead something that is like an experience bar. And as you get more honor, you unlock more honor talents, which only work in PvP. And when you hit rank 50, you can turn all that in to start again at level 1 and prestige up and get interesting rewards. And right now, you can get a faction pet, an artifact appearance, a pennant, a mount, and a title. And if you like vanity stuff, you should,
I know.
work on the prestige ground
I
now
know.
because every season, prestige is not going to reset. There's just going to be more and more ranks of stuff you can get.
Yeah.
So it's like if there's
If
like,
you fall behind, it's gonna
yeah,
be really hard to catch up.
right. So like you want, you can even do stuff like PvP World Quest or like
Yeah.
unrated battlegrounds to get honor if you just, don't care
I
about
really
rating,
want the
just want to
artifact
get it there.
appearance for shamans, but the one I want is like prestige rank 7 or rank 9, and I'm like, oh, it's so much PvP.
Yeah, so, not
But
to
I
fall
could
behind.
PvP as Resto, so that's
Yep,
going in the direction I want.
yep. So yeah, get started on your prestige now. Like, make sure to do the world quest when they're up. They're pretty easy. You
Yeah.
don't even have to. You don't have to kill players. You can just like kill the enemy
Yeah,
and
it's
and
usually whatever's in the area.
yeah. And if you are serious about PvP, the Legion Gladiator mounts are storm dragons, so they look like Nithog, which is pretty cool.
Weren't they
Um,
unicorns?
no, so the unicorns are the prestige reward.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, maybe you have to grind that out too. Unicorns are at rank 3, I believe.
That's so low though. That's probably worth it.
Yeah, you could totally. I mean, they'll probably have a different unicorn every season, but yeah, you can totally get a unicorn right now pretty easily.
Right now. Sunday,
Yeah,
Sunday,
three
Sunday.
unicorns.
My gosh. So yeah,
um,
ranked
yeah,
PvP is a thing now.
yeah. And just one quick thing: PvP seasons are shorter than Warlords, and the PvP gear is a recolor of Tier 19 gear, with the Elite gear having fancier details. And yeah, the Tier 19 gear actually looks pretty good. Like the Druid set and the Shaman sets
Yeah.
are really neat, and some of them match up with artifacts very well. Like the
Yeah.
enhancement set has all this fire on the shoulders, and it matches Doomhammer well. And the Druid set has like a crescent moon, and one of the Scythe of Elune ones also has a crescent moon. So Yeah, it's also very fashionable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And on like the opposite note of PvP,
Yes.
Brewfest is here.
Brewfest is the thing. Wait, wait, wait.
Yeah.
Sausage
Okay.
hat.
Yes. Sausage hat. You can have Pepe and a sausage hat at the same time.
So good.
Yes.
So good. Okay,
I
so
love how
one big
that's a
change.
torrent with the sausage hat.
So one big change that I was not prepared for is that when you queue up now, it takes you to like the beginning of the instance. So if
Yeah.
you're like me and you got ported to the beginning of the instance and we're completely like not
What is
okay with
this
life,
distance? Yeah.
you walk in and you go to your right. There's going to be a drill. You go past the drill and there's going to be little mailbox looking things. And when you get up close to them, there's going to be a cogwheel and you can click on them. That's what you want to click on. Don't click on the drill. It does not take you where you want to go.
And if you're in there, you want to kill Corendire Brew because his loot is now eye level 810,
That's bad
and he
though. I'm
drops.
really surprised it's that low. Usually holiday bosses drop pretty
Yeah,
decent loot, and that's
he's
very
just like
low.
LFR-ish, I want to
It's
say.
lower than LFR's
No, I mean like
835.
usually it's around
Yeah.
L.
I would
I
have thought
want
it would have been
to.
840. That's what, if I would have guessed, I would have thought it would. I was shocked when it said it was only 810.
Yeah. Well, it
That's
also requires level 1092Q.
yeah.
So, yeah, but yeah, the cooler thing is by far the sausage hat,
Sausage
which
hat.
toy for 100 Brewfest prize tokens. You can also put things like Pepe on your head with the sausage toy, which looks pretty cool. There's also the Synthbrew Goggles XL, which is a permanent version of the goggles you get for Brewfest quests, and that's 200 tokens. Um, what I thought was a neat little detail, which doesn't really count for anything, is that each brewery vendor has a new special brew. So, like, the ogres have a brew that turns you into an ogre, and the dwarves have one that make you sparkly, and then the horde have some voodoo one that makes the sky all
Oh,
stormy.
that's
So
fun.
that was just like a nice little flavor detail.
Yeah.
I would love to see the Nightfallen show up just because
Yes.
they've got the Pandaren are selling their brew.
Yep.
They have a monk from a vineyard selling wine.
Yep.
So I feel like the Nightfallen should show up with their like arc wine being like, "Hey guys, we have samples," because I mean, we've seen what the vineyards are like. We do that quest to jump on the
Yep.
wine. And we're freeing a lot of the Nightfallen, that they know how to craft things. So I would love to see these, super elitist cultured Nightfallen at
Absolutely.
Fest being like, what is this? But like, by the way, like, buy our wine. We want to share our traditions with everyone
Yeah, our
here.
like 10,000
Just
year old
yes.
protected wine.
Yep.
So
So,
good. And Brewfest goes on until October 6th, so you have almost 2 weeks left to.
and there's also a sausage you can throw at people.
Yeah, that's important too. There's a throwing
Yes.
sausage.
Yep.
The sausages. So ridiculous. There's also some other new quests available. When you finish your Class Hall campaign, it's going to unlock the Balance of Power quest line, which will send you to Mythic Eye of Ajara and Darkheart Thicket, as well as Il'gynoth and Xavius. I think I dropped this quest on accident. So what
Oh.
happened was when I got my third artifact slot, a quest came up that was, I thought it was the enhancement quest, which is why I dropped it, because it was like, go assist Thrall by riding Stormbeak and throwing the thing into the
Interesting.
maelstrom, which is the
Yeah.
same thing that you do in the beginning. So
Right.
I thought, and then I
Yeah.
just dropped it. But like nothing ever happened after that. Like I couldn't pick it back up, and I went and talked to Agra, is the Shaman Hall lady. I went and talked to her, and she had the enhancement one, but it wasn't the one I had just dropped. So I don't know what I did.
Yeah, a lot of Wowhead comments are saying that they pretty much narrowed it down to if you finish the campaign a few days later, you should be able to pick up the start of Balance of Power in your class hall.
Yeah.
Like people were like, hey, was it artifact knowledge? No, I didn't have any. Is it this eye level? No, maybe it's reputation? No. So it's like 99% sure that you just have to finish it and then it's not instant, but a few days later it should pop up.
If I don't get it in a couple days, I'll just ticket it, and then they'll probably send me to Wowhead. That's last time I screwed up a quest. They literally sent me the Wowhead quest tracker, and I was like, "Thanks, Blizzard."
Yeah, so it's just balance of power you want to do because you want it unlocks an artifact appearance and we don't know how long the quest line is, but it sends you into raids, so it could be like a pretty long quest, so you just
Yeah.
want to you don't want to get behind on lockouts. For example, people made jokes that, when does the Balance of Power quest pop up? Oh, right after you finish clearing Mythic Eye of Ashara for the week.
And I already
So,
did do Mythic Eye of Ashara, by
yep.
the way. That's like the only Mythic I've done this week, so perfect. 10 out of 10.
I wrote a post on some of this stuff today, actually talking about the things you can do that just don't require max level, but require additional things. So another thing, as we mentioned before, is that with the Emerald Nightmare open, you can finish the good Sur Maritin quest line because you have to,
See what they did there, guys?
ha ha ha, because you have to kill Xavius, and then you can finish growing Shalaron. And good Sur Maritin is related to the first part of Broken Isles Pathfinder. You can't fly it, but you can move faster when you finish it. And then finally, we also learned this week that if you're Artifact Knowledge 4, you can start farming the hidden appearances for the Discipline Priest, Assassination Rogue, and Elemental Shaman artifacts. So, like, some specs have it super easy, like Beast Mastery Hunters, they just buy them. And some classes have it ridiculously hard, like Retribution Paladins, they to, like, fish up something and, like, collect fishing books and go to AV. But for these three spec appearances, it's Discipline Priests have to get a bunch of books, and the other two specs have to kill rares in the underbelly, and none of that stuff will drop if you're not level 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it for live. One thing which we forgot to mention at the start, which we should mention, is that SAS 148 is collecting questions for us. So if you have any questions you want to ask us about, like, Wowhead features for the patch or any other thoughts, let them know, and we'll be answering some questions at the end.
Yeah, we'll probably do less questions than usual, though, because we still have, like, an hour worth of stuff to talk about. Like, this is insane.
Yep. So yeah, PTR, exciting. There's Karazhan and mounts, and there's actually 2 Pepe references and lots of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is super exciting. So I'm going to flip it to you to talk a little about Karazhan.
Okay.
Because you have a better handle on this than I do, because I haven't been on the PTR at all.
Okay. Let me open up my massive page of Karazhan notes. Okay. So there's new Karazhan and old Karazhan will coexist, and new Karazhan will have 9 bosses. And what we know so far is that there's going to be the Maiden of Virtue, Atumen, Moros, the Opera Hall, Curator, Shade of Medivh, the Mana Devourer, and Viz Adum, the Watcher. And we know that there's some form of chess as well that's going to be there based on the PAX presentation. And Karazhan is a mythic-only dungeon. There's going to be an attunement for it. The attunement is still not set in stone, but it involves some sort of mission with followers that are a high item level. So again, I'm not sure if that's going to be changed or not. I know some people don't want missions, but we'll see. There's also going to be some part where we assist Khadgar, but that part isn't really testable yet. A lot of the Karazhan loot has fun throwbacks to old Karazhan. All of the trash loot is named after some cool-looking items, and it shares the same model. So, if it's a boring gray, you might still want to hold on to it because it looks like something really awesome. And a lot of the trinkets have really funny names, like there's Aran's Relaxing Ruby, and it summons Flame Wreath. Which it summons something that looks like Flame Wreath, and you're meant to stand in it because it's a buff, and that's just really funny. Both how there's Flame Wreath and also how it's relaxing.
Yep.
And then there's this other interesting loot system where some Karazhan chests say that they're empowered if you equip an item that has the mark of the Raven. And all the trinkets have this flavor text called Marked by the Raven, so that's sort of an interesting take on set bonuses, how, like, items can do additional things based on if you have other ones equipped, and it sounds more flavorful than just like 2-piece bonus increases stat by whatever. And there's also 2 mounts from Karazhan. One from Atumen is Midnight Rains. He's back. And then regular Nightbane also has a mount as well, the Smoldering Ember Worm. So
yeah, I have all the mounts coming up. I have a thing of all of the mounts that are coming in 7.1.
One more cool thing about Karazhan is that there are the 3 opera encounters, and they're always based on, like, pop culture. And there's one that's a Beauty and the Beast. There's one that's like West Side Story with Murloc pirates. And then there's one called Wicked, which I think is meant to be a tribute to the Broadway musical Wicked. So lots of cool things. Medivh has a new model, which is pretty awesome. And yeah, Karazhan is not open for testing yet. They have the raid open for a little bit of testing, but still need to wait on Karazhan. And there's also I'm just looking at the quests. Like there's some quests related to the opera event, which sound really fun. Like you have to go collect negative reviews, and it's like relegated to rotating venue. The only highlight of Romulo and Julian is their off night.
That's amazing.
And then there's Little Red Cape. It is no wonder Julian is relegated to such off-canal venues. She should take her own dose of poison.
Wow.
I know.
Savage.
And, like, this must be the Nightborn because, like, you know, what's canals? It's, like, the main canal in Suramar, so that's kind of cool how that...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, then it's, like, a true performance just about blossom before the demise of the two heroes. So it's like, do they have a good performance and then we just killed them? And then the Bouquet Roses is like, they won't miss them. The last performance was dead anyway.
It's brutal.
You can also get Moros as a class hall champion. And his encounter is pretty funny because in the dungeon journal, 1 second, I am pulling this up. He has a really, oops, 1 sec. Ah.
Perk down.
Pepe down. He fell on my headset and pulled it out of my ear.
Pepe.
I know.
This is why
so
we
he
can't
has,
have nice things.
I know. He's on the floor. I'll pick him up afterwards. So on the Moro's encounter, he says things like, coat check, strips the current target of their armor, reducing their protection by 75%. Moro's then provides his target with a complimentary robe because it's not that sort of dinner party. So, just some fun flavor in these things that are going on. Even the Mana Devourer is like, really does the sight of a mana worm cause a seasoned adventurer concerned? These small, simple creatures float about, consuming stray pockets of arcane energy. But in Karazhan, tables are often turned, and what at first glance appears harmless may be revealed as an enormous threat. Which is funny, because if you did the original Karazhan, after you killed Curator, there just were, like, rooms and rooms of trash, and the Mana Devourers seemed easy at first, but then they would explode and kill you and suddenly become a huge pain. So now they're back and, you know, they're bigger and badder and worse than ever.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's it about Karazhan. We can't really run it yet, but it looks pretty cool. And just once again, you can still run old Karazhan. There's even, you know, mounts and stuff that hint that more stuff is coming to old Karazhan.
Yeah. New and old Karazhan are separate, and that's important to know. It's not like ZA and ZG where they got rid of the old ones when they did the new ones. They're still there.
Yeah.
And then Trial of Valor is also coming. Probably, I think Trial of Valor is in between, right? It's not actually 7.1.
You know, it is 7.1, but it's in between Nightmare and Nighthold.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty short place. There's just 3 bosses. It wraps up the Stormheim quest line.
Mm-hmm.
And the 2 interesting things is that it's tied to a new world quest area, the Helajar Landing. And if you collect 1,000 Valajar soul fragments, you unlock a cool cosmetic transmog set called the Vestments of the Chosen Dead.
Ooh.
So
that's going to be probably like Valkyrie-ish.
Yeah.
Chosen
so that'd
Dead.
be cool.
That's what that sounds
you know, we data mined a bunch. It's probably more elaborate, but we data mined a bunch of sets that were called like Vykrul in the data.
Ooh.
And I think that's what the NPCs ended up wearing, but you know, we haven't really had any armor that sort of fits the Stormheim aesthetic, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, for sure.
I like how the reward for doing everything in the zone is transmog.
Yes,
cool.
Me too.
Yeah.
There's been so, like, rewards in general, I feel like in Legion have been really good.
Yeah. Speaking of rewards, there is the Suramar campaign, which is very cool and exciting for a sparkly mount. And this was something that we could actually play through on the PTR, so we did. It's a 9-week story campaign that rewards the Arcanist Mana Saber, and
which
on the
we'll show in a second.
Yeah, on the PTR you could actually just play through everything at once. And should we put up a spoiler tag for this?
Because I will.
Yeah,
I don't know if people are
I'm
going to
grabbing
spoil it or not.
Oh, he rolled far. I
Oh,
can't
wait,
pick up
hold
that.
on. Add media file. Hold on. There's not a spoiler tag on here for some reason, but I can add it real quick. Not a
Okay.
problem.
All right.
All right. It is. We're almost there, boys. Okay. Good. You're good.
Okay, so in the Suramar campaign, it picks up where you leave off, and at the end of the current campaign, you finish growing the awesome tree. You feed the main NPCs this special fruit, and they're restored to the Nightborn forms, and
Aw.
their mana addiction is cured.
Hey.
So in 7.1, the idea is that you keep feeding more of the refugees while trying to progress forward, and tragedy strikes because the Nightborn
This is
have
methadone for Nightborn. This is screwed up. This is not okay.
So, what happened is that the Waning Crescent has been raided by the demons in Elisand, and like all the characters that you're, chilling with, like the inn, like some of them are dead, some of them are taken prisoner, the whole area is trashed. There's even more elite demons. Like, it's really sad. It's sort of like Pandaria when the Veil of Eternal Blossoms got trashed. Except it's even more gutsier now because we've only known the Night Fallen for a few months. So it's really sad. If you like chilling in that one little safe area in Suramar, it looks very sad and angry. But you're actually successful in rescuing a lot of people, and strengthening the rebellion, and you even get the attention of the Alliance and the Horde. And which is super cool is that you work with Tyrande, Liadrin, and Verisa, who are all like the subclasses of elves, and it's really interesting how they interact with the first Arcanist because like Tyrande grew up in Suramar, and she's like, "Why should I trust you? Like you made this barrier, you were standoffish." And Liadrin's like, "Oh, I'm like sort of related to the Nightborn, but I don't know anything about them." And it's really cool to see a bunch of these lady elves with different personalities that don't really trust the other faction that are trying to work together for the greater good. And
Yeah.
there's some really cool interactions. Like there's a really cool thing where you storm Suramar, you take over part of it, and then you go start the siege of the Nighthold, and Elisand comes out, and she just disses all the different races, being like, night elves, like you totally trashed our glorious culture. You're just like hippies in the woods, and blood elves, like I thought you'd understand our addiction to magic, like you turned your backs, and like Verisa, like you've tainted the line of the high elves, like I'm so disappointed in all of you. And it's just like it's really harsh. um and what happens is that Elisand puts this time bubble over all the Alliance and the Horde, and except for like you and Khadgar and the Nightfallen. So then you have to undo that barrier, and you actually end up using your knowledge of the ley lines and the withered army to break down some of their defenses and open up the entrance to the Nighthold. And I really like the withered army part because we're doing this training every 3 days, and it's nice to actually see it paying off, and it ties into one of the fatal flaws of the Nightborn. Like they get really mad at you when they
Yeah.
see you taking these withered and having to attack their barrier. They're like, oh, this is cheating. Like, how dare you use the withered? Like, we never even thought about how to counteract them. Like, they're beneath us. And, the withered are just like tearing up their defenses. And you're like, yeah, guys, like, that's awesome. I've been training you so well.
Good
So
job,
it,
friends.
it feels really satisfying, both in that, like, this difficult thing you do every week is paying off, and also that, the Nightborn are so technology, like they're very advanced, they're very clever, but they're very elitist, and they didn't think of this huge security flaw. They
Yeah.
just so yeah, and it rewards a mount, which will transition
Ooh,
to the
perfect
next part.
timing. All right, let me
Yeah.
take the spoiler tag off.
Okay.
So, wait, I want to
Yeah.
mention this one more time. This is the only time I've ever been relevant in the WoW community, but I'm pretty sure the first time they confirmed that mount was to me at PAX, so it was very exciting for me. Apparently, all my
Nice.
other questions were irrelevant, but I was real excited about that mount. So I have a little thing here that's going to show you a bunch of the mounts that are coming in 7.1. So this first one is the Smoldering Ember Worm from Nightbane. This is the Arcanist Mana Saber that comes from the Suramar questline. The Ivory Hawkstrider, which comes from a vendor in High Mountain. The Rockspine Basilisk from Talon's Vengeance Exalted. This is the Darkwater Skate from the Darkmoon Fair. There is another color variant as well. And this is Midnight's Eternal Rains from Atumen in Karazhan. So tons of new mounts coming. They're all very cool looking. That one's probably the cool. I probably like that smoldering ember worm the best, but the Mana Saber's pretty great as well. I also like the Mana Saber, and I know some people might complain about this, but I like that it's a version of the Mystic Rune Saber, but one that you have to work hard to earn in game, and it's clearly different. It's got different armor.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I actually don't
better.
mind the Mystic Rune Saber.
I
Like I don't mind that they're both purple. And I actually think it's cool that you can just buy a mount and be like, "Oh, Suramore Pride." Like it really makes you think that you know, Legion was meant to come out way earlier because, you know, Bright Paw and the Mystic Rune Saber, they are in Suramore.
Yeah, they are.
So, you know, the timing makes more sense if you think about like, oh, this expansion is new. Like, why don't you go buy this, you know, mount that
it's so
matches?
Relevant.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel pretty cool going around Suramore with my Mystic Rune Saber.
Yeah, I actually don't think I own the Mystic Rune Saber. I usually will get them when they go on sale for like half off because I buy all of them, so I have a hard time justifying buying every single one of them at full price. So I usually buy them when they're bundled with a pet or when they're half off, or there should be a sale coming up soon. Oh my gosh, we need to talk about the sale when we get to merchandise because I have a problem. Moving on to UI improvements coming in 7.1. You will be able to hide your belt in the Transmog tab, which I guess a lot of people are excited about.
Yeah, I mean, that's super. Like, you can hide your helm, your shoulders, your cape, your belt, and then if you have the Grifta item, your boots. So that's a lot of stuff.
So you can be almost naked.
Yeah.
This is really like those sleaze mogs, man. They're coming in strong. Your Flight Master map will also now show you objective icons for story quests, which are not world quests. They're like the regular story quests.
Yeah, so like currently now, if you mouse over, you see the world quest in the zone. So I just want to clarify that like this is like a new thing because when I first posted about it, everyone's like, "Oh no, you can already do that." And it's like, no, like this is just like the quest as you're leveling. It will be like, hey, you take this flight path, like the quest you were working on yesterday.
Yeah, that's super. That's a really nice quality of life improvement for people who are still leveling in particular. The Flight Master map will also now make it easier to track and view your selected flight paths.
Yeah, which is cool because like usually like now you see like all the lines and then when you go to the node, the line lights up and then when you move your mouse, it goes away. But now you only see the line when you select the node and it lights up and you can move the mouse away and it stays there.
Yeah. Also, we talked about this a little bit last show, but the auction house will now sort items by unit price instead of the price. So that means that if a stack of 20 has cheaper per item buyouts, they'll show up above the single items that are for a higher price, which is a really nice quality of life change that a lot of people are looking forward to. And then also, if you are into making your own custom macros, that icon selection window will show more buttons, so it'll be a lot bigger.
Like significantly more.
Yeah, like, well, right now it shows you like 6. It's not helpful at all.
It shows you like 64 or something like that.
Like right now, when you look at that, it really shows you very few, and it's always like whatever is at the bottom in the middle. So that's it. That's awesome. There's also going to be some changes to gear in 7.1. You'll be able to increase your legendary items to 925, unless you're me and legendaries don't exist. So this has nothing to do with
maybe before.
interest.
Maybe you'll get one before. Maybe you'll get one. You don't know. No, I don't.
Same.
But yeah.
Same. My husband got one, and I felt kind of happy that he got a terrible one. Like, he was playing DPS Druid, and the legendary that he got was, like, one of the best ones for tanks or for healers, but it was terrible for both DPS. So, like, if you understood how much crap he wins all the time, you would know why I felt a little bit satisfied by the fact that he got a bad one. But after all that, he's now going to main as Demon Hunter anyways, so that's fine. You do this by acquiring loot. You get quests. You will get a quest to loot items from Nighthold bosses. So this won't be until...
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's some Nighthold. Really. I mean, they were just like, oh, collect like 50, I don't know, tablets or eyes of Amanthul. Like, it was some Titan-sounding thing.
By the time this comes out, people should have legendaries. And honestly, I don't think legendary drops are that rare. Like, a bunch of people in my guild already have, like, a legendary. And if you're trying to work up so that you can equip 2 at one time, like, clearly they're expecting you to be able to get 2. So it can't be one of those things that's going to be, only 1 in 1,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're spending 43 days working up to 2, like, they expect you to have them, I want to say, around the time, so it feels like you didn't spend like a month you know,
Yeah.
do
Well, it's
nothing.
not really have to do much. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
and I guess like
set
we have
it
to
and
collect.
forget it. It's the crock pot of
Yeah,
WoW
well,
quests.
you just have to get all the artifacts.
Yeah.
Not the artifacts, the order
Yeah,
resource.
yeah,
Like, you just
yeah.
have to like amass the 10,000 or 15,000, whatever
I
it is.
seem like, see, I'm on the opposite problem right now. I feel like I can't get rid of order resources. I've been at like 10,000 forever. I think it's because I
I
pick up
mean,
all the treasures. I do every treasure. Like, if
right.
there's a
I
treasure,
feel
I'm
like
getting
at
it.
more casual levels, like if you are like lazy or just like, oh, like, I'm not going to do a dungeon, like let me just throw some resources at my order hall set and it can become 840 and feel like mythic level, yay. Like I feel like, you can spend it on stuff like that easily.
Valid
At
point.
first. And
I
now
only bought a
to
helmet, and then
seal
the
the
rest of my
bonus
gear I've
rolls.
gotten from dungeons and stuff.
Like if you want to save your gold on consumables or I don't know, you don't like spending gold, you can spend order resources on the bonus rolls instead.
That feels like it's expensive, though. That feels like a lot. It's like 4,000 a week. That feels like a
Yeah,
lot.
right.
So I
But
didn't
I
do
mean that
that.
is another sink.
Wait,
Yeah.
so this is really exciting. All the Pepes!
Pepe!
So
Pepe!
in 7.1, Pepe will be a fishing bobber toy that you can acquire from fishing, and he lures more fish to you while also looking freaking adorable. And you could also use your oversized bobber too, so then you have like a giant bobber Pepe. So good. So good. There's also a reference in Surmar when you speak with Lady Lilith. She talks about a bizarre fashion trend where people are wearing ornamental orange birds on their head. And we're going to talk about this in a little while, but the BlizzCon Bastion skin this year includes Pepe as his little Ganymede.
Yep.
Very cute.
So awesome. This is the
So,
best thing ever.
yes.
Pepe had such a big beak. He is very good at taking over
Yes.
the.
I don't think we have this in the show notes, but did you see the box that Ganymede comes in?
I know! It's like a Bastion box.
Hold on, I'm
That's so
gonna save it
cute.
right now so I can show it on the stream because it's worth the
Okay.
effort. It's really cool. Like I thought that was like a. I've always thought Blizzard packaging was really good. Like if you've ever ordered anything from Blizzard, even like even just like the blue box that you get is like got
Yeah,
tons
the
of stuff
attention to
on it.
detail is very cool. It's like the Murlocs and they have the logos of all of the games and yeah, even the bags for each plushie are personalized. Like,
Yeah.
we'll have like their name on it and then a little icon related to it, like its battle pet family if it was a pet in the game. Like the dragons have the little dragonkin icons. And
Yes.
Pepe's super cute because he looks like when you
Oh.
pull him back, he's coming out of an egg. He's so cute. Ganymede is so
Oh
cute. I
God.
want a Ganymede. I want Pepe to meet Ganymede. That
I
would be
can't
awesome.
wait for the two of them to be together. It's gonna be the best.
I
What did I
know.
just do?
Oh,
Hold
what
on.
happened?
I'm gonna get. I'll figure this out, guys. Don't worry, fam. Don't worry. I don't
Okay.
know what I did, but I'll fix it. Okay, this goes down here. This goes down here. Okay, and then this goes up here. All right, we got it. No, just kidding. What is happening? What is
Okay.
happening? I'll fix it. Don't worry.
Okay. All
I
right.
just need like 14 seconds.
Okay.
Wait, what? The problem
Should
is
All
that you
right.
can't make this little area any bigger, so you can only see like 4 things at a time. Right,
Okay.
this is the thing, though, right? This is Ganymede? Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
him.
I got him. I got him.
Yep, he's
There
so
he
cute.
is. So that's that little bastion that you see is actually like
Yep.
his box that he comes in, which I found very impressive. I think that's really cute. And I would love to see like in the future, like if they ever do like line 2 of Pepe's, like wouldn't it be cute if Pepe
I
came in like
know.
I don't know, a box that resembled like maybe the Garrison order hall boxes that you used to get, the like
That would be
crates that were
cute.
outside. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just thought that was really cute, and I haven't seen Blizzard do anything that elaborate before, so I really like it when boxes are
Yeah.
displayable. So 10 out of 10 effort, Blizzard. But
Yep.
yeah, also coming in 7.1 is a new rating with leashes achievement, which
I know. This is so awesome.
I'm excited about. I didn't include the pictures because they're really small, but you can check them out on Wowhead. There are 16 new battle pets from Wrath of the Lich King bosses, including 2 from Lich King himself. The reward.
Also, wait. So it's not Raiding with Leashes Wrath of the Lich King. The achievement name is Wrath of the Lich King.
Oh, okay. I fixed that
Yeah.
because I thought that you screwed that up, but that's
No.
hilarious.
Yes.
Lich King. Wow.
Yep.
16 new battle pets, and you will get the reward of a celestial invitation, which will unlock the battle pet, which is like a celestial bunny.
Yeah, and you get the bunny by defeating Algalon's team. And yeah, Algalon is
See,
apparently
now that's crazy to me because it was the other rating with leashes. you just got it for
Exactly.
doing them. Now you
Right.
actually have to do another pet battle to get
Yeah.
the pet.
But it's Algalon, who's like, super serious dude, and he's all like, "Greetings, mortal. For many years, I've continued my observation of this planet. The halls of Ulduar have been hollow and silent, save for the occasional clattering whisper from the darkness. I grew so very bored of it. Thus, I have taken up this pet battling you seem so fond of. Truly, an amusing pastime that will sustain my mind for many centuries. I have been amassing my collection, scouring the stars for tiny beings of cosmic power. Come, let us do battle once more."
Perfect.
So that's
Perfect,
hilarious.
Agalon. That's the
Yeah.
that's the right attitude for pet battles for sure. But you get a
Yep.
little sparkly rabbit if you win, which is pretty adorable.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't put this in the notes, but one more thing is that there's also a data mine pet called the Magnetar Hunting Horn,
oh,
which is a snowballed runt, and it's meant to be a super rare drop, rarer than raiding with leashes, and it's from Trial of the Crusade, but it's not part of the achievement because it's a very rare drop. And if you raided back then, the snowballs were super annoying on the first boss fight,
yeah.
so this pet is annoying as well.
Perfect.
Um, yep. Um,
Okay, so also there's some profession updates for 7.1 that we
yes.
found out so far. So
Yeah.
Nomi now has slightly burnt food that is like burnt food rank 2 that you can actually like restore health with. It's not just junk.
Yeah.
Tailors will also be able to craft a 30 slot bag, which is bigger. I think right now 20 is or 28 is the biggest, right? 26.
Um, yeah, and the big thing with tailors in Legion was that they can craft a new bag, but it's like a
It's like
utility
a budget bag.
medium-sized cheap bag. Yeah, so
Yeah.
now they can create the fancy bag now,
Yeah, an
which is
expensive bag. There's
yeah.
also going to be some new glyphs from Medivh's Footlocker, the Trusted Steed and the Crackling Ox Lightning. I assume Trusted Steed is probably a paladin glyph.
Yeah, it's there's scrolling to figure
What's
out
it
what
do?
it
Change
does.
the way the horse
Yeah.
looks?
Your divine steed is the charger instead of your race's mount.
Oh, that's
Yep.
cool. And then Crackling Ox Lightning, I would assume, is a monk glyph.
Yeah, crackling jade lightning visual is altered to the color of the ox celestial.
Then there's
Yep.
also going to be new cooking and first aid recipes that will require revered with the wardens. Words are hard. I struggled through that one.
Yeah. So I guess Wardens is really like shaping up to be kind of the reputation with the profession slant because they already have the shoulder enchant
Yeah.
for the Bloods, and now there's more recipes that you get with them.
Yeah. Okay, then there's also the Diablo 20th anniversary is coming up, which will be a feat of strength if you log into WoW, though.
Yeah, there are these items
So weird.
in WoW. I don't know if we have the music queued up, but we can even play some of
Yeah,
the
no, I didn't.
music.
I didn't
Yeah.
cue the music up because I was full on things, and that has to be on its
Oh,
own
okay.
thing, so I was out of
Oh, okay.
space. But
Yeah.
there is some like data mined guitar music, as well as items that do things. They're not so much like pets and toys that you see. They're like, I know one of them is like a scroll that like ports you places.
There is the 12-string guitar, which I believe is the toy that
Oh, I
actually
didn't even
has
see
the
that.
music. Yeah.
Gosh
So
darn
there's a
it.
12-string guitar. There is the Stone of Jordan. Looking it up. It's just, I want to say the Stone of Jordan is the currency, because, yeah, it
Yep.
just seems like it's a currency binds on account.
Yep. And then the
There,
Haradric satchel is the bag.
yeah. Yep. And then there's the blank diabolic tome. And there's a bunch of other little items
Mm-hmm.
as well. And yeah, you combine 10 scrolls of Town Portal to create a tome of Town Portal. So this is not testable on the PTR yet. I'm not sure if they want to keep it a secret, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it when they do any crossovers. Anytime that something comes out and you get something in another game for it, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. But I actually like. I hope they do something big in Diablo as well because like Diablo is really fun and a lot of the rewards they've added lately, like cosmetic type stuff, has been really cool. So hopefully they do some.
Yeah,
really
it's like
cool
it's been
stuff too.
borrowing from WoW, or both games have been borrowing like the whole affix system
Yeah.
and random Titan Forge loot and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ooh, BlizzCon's coming up.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
So yeah, done with PTR.
Let's look at the contents of the
BlizzCon.
goodie bag. So this is the mount that you'll get in Heroes of the Storm. The Murloc pets you'll get in WoW. They're faction specific. We showed that Bastion skin earlier. The Hearthstone Innkeeper card. This is the little Diablo pet that you're going to get in Diablo. And then mystery StarCraft gifts. And of course, all of these are available if you order the virtual ticket.
Yep.
What's your favorite thing?
So I think the Pepe Ganymede Bastion is my favorite thing.
So good. It's
I
really
know.
good.
I'm
I don't
so
blame you.
excited to see him, and it's just, yeah. I mean, it's
It's
nice
so
how Pepe
subtly
makes so
done
many
too.
people happy.
So like I can't get over the mystery gifts in StarCraft because what does
Oh
that
yeah,
mean? It makes me feel like there's a StarCraft announcement coming. Like when they say it's mystery gifts in StarCraft 2, does that mean we're getting like an expansion or some sort of it feels like there's some sort of announcement and that's why they haven't announced the actual items
right.
you're getting.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with it because I know some people have felt that the portraits are very like limited in nature, like the
Yeah.
traditional StarCraft rewards,
Yeah.
or
Well, they
maybe
announced that cosmetics tab at Gamescom that there's going to
right.
be like skins for your units and
Yeah,
stuff. So I
exactly.
kind of think that's what it's going to be is like a unit skin or something like that that's more cosmetic. But I
Yeah.
also feel like it's going to be paired with an announcement.
Yeah.
I don't know what the announcement is.
Yep. So we will
But
see. You can get all the stuff when you get the virtual ticket for $39.99. Or obviously, if you go to BlizzCon, you can get this as well, but tickets obviously are sold out.
yep. Oh, you know what? I don't think I actually included the stuff that was in the real goodie bag. Didn't we talk about that a while ago though?
Yeah, like
Okay.
they introduced that, I want to say, like maybe a month
Yeah.
or two ago, and then, I mean, that's also limited supplies, so it's probably sold out at
I
this
think it's sold
point.
out by
Yeah,
now. Anyways,
yeah,
that was announced a while ago as well.
yeah,
Oh, can we talk a little bit about the party? Like a small amount?
yeah, yeah.
So the
We
Wowhead
actually,
party's the thing, guys.
yeah, we have our RSVP page live. We linked it. We made a post about it right before PTR news hit. Great timing, but we'll link it again in the news post for tomorrow. We have some really cool things that we're doing differently this year, based on user feedback,
Yeah.
which, yeah, we're actually, the party's always really fun, but we want to keep doing cool things. So, for example, we really like the Hilton location, which was this, beautiful, spacious courtyard. You can
Yeah.
do lots of decorations, but because it's in the middle of a hotel, there's noise complaints
Mm-hmm.
after 10 p.m. And it's really weird to have a party when the music is turned off. So, we're having the main party go until 10, and then we're having a special after party in a bar area going until 2 a.m. So, we're having like the community mingling event, and then, like, just like very relaxed, chill, more
I'm
traditional
super excited about it.
party.
There'll also be a live stream again, guys, and there'll be
Yeah.
prizes and stuff on the live stream too. I will be the host. I'm really excited. I'm kind of doing both things this year because I can. Gosh darn
Yeah,
it.
we thought it would be cool if the people at home had, more of a sense of what's going on around the party
Yeah.
as opposed to just interviews. Because, with the way streaming works, like, you can just like tune in and, see all the streamers on Twitch. So it would
Yeah.
be cool if, you could see them giving stuff away or, walking over to the claw machine that's filled with Pepe
Yep.
plushies or, cool displays. So we think that would be more fun for everyone
Maybe I'll
watching.
go to the plushie machine and I'll fish out plushies and then we'll give them away on stream.
That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Maybe you
like
guys
this.
can. Maybe it'll be like remember when Twitch played Pokemon? It'll be like Twitch does
Yeah.
plushie machines. But we're
Yep.
really really excited about it. It should be a lot of fun, and we're gonna have a whole gaming station where people there can come and play games. And I'm super excited about it. Like I'm
Yeah.
really, really pumped. We're going to have such a good time. And I feel like everybody was so open last year about feedback between the people who were working the party, the people who attended the
Yeah.
party, that we were really able to take all of that and create something better out of it. And I think this will be the best year for the Wowhead party ever. Ever! I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Ever.
I'm a
And
little
also be
biased,
cool
but I'm also
because
very
like
excited.
I know for the like last year, I mean like it always happens. Like last year wasn't an exception, but when you have to like cover breaking news the next day, like that sort of looms over your head.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to do this party and you're like, "Oh my God, I can't pass out after the party because like Blizzard will like introduce some
Yeah.
bizarre new thing I never heard of before."
Yeah.
And while we knew what Legion was at Gamescom, there were a ton of details that we, didn't know. Like the next day we could actually play the starting zone and see
Yeah.
abilities and, get the names of the zones and when
Yeah.
it was available. So, it's like Legion just came out. Like we're not going to get a new expansion
Yeah,
announcement
any
at this
announcement is
time
going to just be
because
fun and
relax.
chill. It's not going to be like
Yeah.
this huge, huge, giant deal. Unless there's an Overwatch announcement, in which case, I don't know. I decided, I don't know if I told you this, but I'm handling BlizzCon differently this year.
Okay.
So I am going, instead of attending the actual opening ceremony live, I'm going to watch the opening ceremony on stream so that I can film right from my hotel
I
immediately.
That's a great idea.
And then I can also like screen cap things and like be ready to make this video and like get it out quickly and then go enjoy the con instead of, because what was happening before is, I mean, it just, even if you're staying at the Hilton, that is still 15 minutes at least from leaving your hotel
and the internet is very weird, and the press room actually does not open until the opening ceremonies are done.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's not a place to film a video anyways. Actually filming at BlizzCon, like B-roll is great, but I've got better stuff this year, but actually filming in those rooms that they do, I never understand YouTube channels who have like super high quality, amazing like con interviews, because those rooms are so poorly lit, and then you get audio from the other rooms, and it's just a constant struggle of like trying to, you know, meet specific standards. I feel like PAX was definitely better than BlizzCon if you look at the difference between those two. And then after doing PAX, I feel like I found more things that I could do different this year to make the quality even better. So I'm really excited for this year because I just feel like we're so much better prepared, and I'm pumped. I'm so excited. Yeah. I'm so excited. Plus I'm in a guild house, right? I got a hotel for work because I was very concerned that I wouldn't get any work done if I was like around all these maniacs. But just like having that experience as well, it's like something I've never done before. It feels like I'm going to like summer camp with my guild. Aww. That's kind of what it feels like, and I'm really excited about it. So sorry I got off on a tangent. Oh my gosh, the Warcraft movie comes out on Tuesday on DVD. Wait, is it today? Shh, darn.
No,
it's Tuesday, right?
23rd. Okay. I think you can watch it or like stream it online currently, but I don't think you can get the extras with it now and not the special deal.
I got it in my head that it was coming out the 16th, and I just went with it. No, there's nothing stating that at all. Like, this is not the first time that this has happened to me, but like I don't even know. Like I convinced myself it was the 16th. I made a video about it and everything, and they're like, Danielle, it's the 27th. Where did you I have no idea. Like, numbers and me don't get along, apparently. I think I'm like numerically dyslexic or something, because I just like have such a hard time recalling numbers, and I was one number off for both, right? It comes out the 26th. I thought it was like
2716.
Yeah, or the 27th. And see, I can't even do it now. We're doing it right now. Anyways, it comes out on September 27th, and if you get the specifically marked boxes, it's going to look like this. See it in the bottom corner there? You will get the Medivh as your mage hero. In Hearthstone, you will get Gul'dan in Heroes of the Storm, and then you're also going to get World of Warcraft up to Legion in 30 days game time. So it is a perfect opportunity to do like refer a friend or to get a friend in, and I think now is such a good time. Thank you so much for subscribing. Now is such a good time to get into WoW, and like, okay, so can I just tell you, my sister's officially been playing WoW a year. Like, she just came up on her year anniversary.
Awesome.
She's so cute. Yeah. She's, like, raiding. She's actually a little bit ahead of me right now because I was traveling so much. And she keeps making fun of me. And then, okay, so my other friend started playing, like, 3 months ago. And she just hit 110. Right?
Okay.
It's just cute. New players of WoW are, like, little...
Yeah.
They're so
I think we discussed this last time, but I still wish there was a reward for people that were familiar with WoW. Like... you know, the people who were, like, the veterans, because, like, you know, Medivh in Hearthstone is really cool and shiny. So it'd be cool if they're like, oh, here's, like, a new, like, I don't know, weapon.
Why was there no veteran WoW thing, right? Like, they could have included, like, they did those, the event things that were just like, oh, you log in and you get the transmogs. Right. Why not give those transmogs to people who bought the DVDs instead? And I know the reasoning for that was to try to, like, promote the movie, but clearly that didn't work. So... it's just a bummer that they're not giving anything cool.
Or give, like, Medivh staff or a Khadgar thing, because, you know, hey, 7.1, like, wouldn't that hype people up? Like, get your Karazhan-themed special item, and, like, synergy with
I'm with
things.
You. I wish they would have included something else as well. Because there could have been a lot of things. They could have done the dagger. Like, Garona's dagger was super prominent. Like, Lady Taria's dagger.
Yeah, and, like, there's just, like, it ties in with Legion really well because Garona's part of the Assassination Rogue questline, and she's a champion. And then, you know, all these Karazhan announcements tie in really well to Karazhan being the actual place. And, like, the Harbinger's short had, like, parallels to some of the scene, you know, composition and cinematics in the final battle with Medivh in the movie. And it just felt like something looking forward to 7.1 would have been a good hook to get people hyped about.
I totally agree with you. And I'm not saying it wasn't a good idea to give away the thing as well.
I just like, you know, more is better, because I thought if you saw the movie, you could, like,
you know what would have been cute is if they gave both races a horse and it was called like Khadgar's Stolen Horse.
That would be awesome.
Like
people would love a plain horse because you can't get those.
Yeah.
You know, there were some that you could get that were removed like 12 years ago at this
Yeah.
point. So,
It just
but
would
yeah,
have
like
been like it would have been cute if they threw a throwback to the actual like
or
players who
like
play
a
WoW.
high res version of Medivh's staff because there's jokes that the current version of his legendary is like
Oh yeah,
a stick with
Atiesh.
a
Oh,
blade out.
Atiesh is Garbo.
Yeah,
It looks like it's a pine cone on the end
yeah.
of it.
So it's like give people a different version of it so the people with the legendary still feel like there's
Oh
this
no, people with the
special.
legendary would be so salty. We'd have no. There's no way they could do that.
They would have like the unique like old school. I
They
got my
would die.
legendary Blizzard
They
cared
would
about.
die of what's that called? There's a word for hyponatremia. Is that what that's called? Like if you die of salt, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm gonna stand up. But there's a lot of cool things they absolutely could have done because they could have done the tome, right? Like the tome that Cadgar grabs out of the wall.
Like a Frostwolf hat type thing.
They could have also had it so if you had the tome, there could have been like every 10 minutes you could use it and that spirit would come out.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely a lot of cool things they could have done. Come on, Blizzard. Come on. Oh well.
We even have some merchandise. This is exciting.
Buy it. Oh my gosh, Wowhead has t-shirts now. You didn't even have this on the list. I added it. Wowhead has t-shirts now. I bought 2 of them, and they're from Teespring, right?
Yeah, they're from Teespring.
So they're like those high quality premium shirts. They're super nice, and they will be in stock for BlizzCon. Like, you will get it before BlizzCon if you live in the U.S. I don't know the international ship times because I only saw the U.S., but the U.S. said I would get mine in, like, the middle of October. So, definitely...
It should come in. It says package to arrive around 7 to 10 business days after the campaign finishes printing.
Yeah, the campaign ends October 6th, so if you live in the U.S., you'll definitely get it within 10 days. I'm just not sure how long it takes to get it in other countries, but I still think it would be there before BlizzCon.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Ship it to your hotel.
Yeah. And it goes up to size 4XL, and there's also cuts for the usual premium tee, and then also a women's style.
Yeah, men's and women's. I got the women's. I went with a small. There was an extra small option, but I went with a small because I have broad shoulders for a girl. But yeah, I'm excited for mine to come. I got 2 of them.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've ever done something like this, so
it's so fun too because it's like you could do like the ones that are like the Illidan rocket, like when it's Wahid's birthday, we could do some sort of cupcake one. Oh my god, the possibilities are endless. Yes, Pepe on a rocket. Do we have that thing?
No, we don't have that.
What the heck, artists out there, make it happen. We need that. We need that. Maybe I'll just Photoshop. I think I have a Pepe that's like cut out, and I have the rocket cut out. I'll make the like crappy Photoshop incoming, guys. Don't worry, I got this covered. So if you want to buy those, there is a link on Wowhead's front page right now.
Yep, I'm sure Sass or someone will drop it in the chat.
Yeah, Sass, if you could drop that in the chat, that would be super rad. Thank you so much, Sass. Wow, he's on it. So yeah, you have until October 6th to order those, and then when they come out, me and Perk will probably wear them at the same time and be like, look at us. We match.
Yeah. Twins.
I'm so excited for that. I was pumped. You didn't even tell me about it. I just like messaged you. I'm like, I bought 2 of the shirts.
Yeah, I had it like set up for 2 weeks, and I just couldn't find the right day to post it because it's like, oh, like the raid is coming out. Yeah. Oh, the PTR came out. So I'm like, okay, the raid came out today in the EU. Like, Blizzard's not going to post any more news. I'll finally post about this T-shirt, and then it was like, bam, PTR an hour later.
Oh, my sister's in chat.
Aww.
She's in chat.
Yeah, I fan's your sister.
We were just talking about her.
Yeah.
She's streaming now. Okay, she's streaming WoW now.
Oh, wow.
I can't deal with it. It makes me so happy. Like, it makes me... I've officially corrupted, like, everyone in my life. Like, my sister-in-law plays WoW now. My friend who never played, like, any MMORPG at all, she's playing WoW. She just hit 110 yesterday. And she figured out how to do Twitter integration, so she's been, like, tweeting her screenshots.
Oh, wow.
So cute. Erica plays WoW now, and she, like... is really hardcore about it. She's switched mains. Yep. Like, she plays more than I do. It's the best.
Wow.
Everybody just plays WoW, and then I'm just like, ha 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 ha, yes. Anyways, we also still have discount codes for Blizzard and Jinx. Let me pop those up for us. We have this one and this one. So the Blizzard code is for plushies, which right now there is a sale going on, and I do believe this code will combine with the sale, and with that sale, like, Stitches is a percentage off. He's like, I want to say he's $28 now, and he's normally like $40. So if you're getting any plushies from the Blizzard Gear Shop, be sure to use code WHPlush15 to get 15% off of any plushie from the Blizzard Gear Shop, and that does include things like the slippers and the hats and the pillows, anything that has stuffing, guys. Anything that has stuffing.
Yeah.
And then,
so there's like stuff that's like $40 is.
Yeah, well, right now I'm pretty sure it's stacks, and right now those $40 plushies, a lot of them are on sale. Like I know Stitches is on sale. I think Hogger is on sale. I think the Abathur head is on sale. The
Abathur head is super funny.
Yeah, they're all super fun. They're all super fun.
Also, as a side note, not in the notes, but I'm seeing these like a StarCraft skater dress and skirt now available. So hopefully we're getting some like WoW fashion dresses soon. That would be super awesome.
Can't wait. Then we also have a code for Jinx, which is code Wowhead Legion, that will give you 10% off and also free shipping worldwide on any Warcraft product from Jinx, which is a crazy good code. International shipping can be outrageous, and you're going to get 10% off and then free shipping anywhere, which I think is a super generous code. There's also a lot of new stuff right now with that cool Illidan hoodie. There's another one that has crossed warglaives on the back. There's the Gul'dan shirt, which you see in the preview that I'm also wearing right now. So if you're interested,
I really like the artifact one. Like it's the W logo.
The artifact one is awesome.
Yeah, like it's the actual artifact weapon models. It's not like, oh lol, a bunch of swords. It's like, oh, this is like
it's really
the unholy
cool.
weapon.
I didn't appreciate that shirt until I saw it in person. I went to when I was at PAX. I saw Josh and Jay, who both work in like PR kind of, and they're really really nice. And I can't remember which one was wearing it, but one of them was wearing it, and I was like creepily close. Like, wait a second. Is that the Scepter of the Tides? Like,
it's super detailed.
It's all, is it 36? All 36 artifact, is that right? Oh god, there's so many. All 36 artifact weapons, and they're all like green and like silhouetted to form the Warcraft logo. It's a really cool shirt. But so those are available. Those codes are also on Wowhead if you forgot them and want to use them. We also are doing a Jinx giveaway right now.
Yeah, which was super nice of them, super generous.
Jinx is awesome. They're so good.
Yeah. Do we have an image for this one too? Yeah.
I have this shirt too. I just didn't wear it.
Yeah, I need to order that one. It's pretty sweet. So the Nightmare Lord is Xavius, who is the last boss of the Emerald Nightmare. So we thought it would be fitting if we gave away some of these shirts themed about the raid. And it's super easy to enter. We have this gigantic post, you can't miss it, covering everything in the patch this week, and you just have to leave a comment on that post linking to your favorite Wowhead guide about the new content, which is cool for two reasons. It's easy. You guys get a chance at shirts. This is open internationally. And, we see what people really like on the site and want to, see more of and what people like the best. So
and the graphic that I just had up said that it was free shipping on WoW products, but it's actually 10% off and free shipping on anything Warcraft, so it does cover the movie stuff too.
Yeah.
Which Jinx
there's Alliance and Horde hoodies that are pretty
they're awesome
as well. Those are part of it.
They're awesome.
The Horde one's like very like punk, like it's
So
it's
before
cool.
we wrap this up, do you have some questions from our audience, Perk?
I do. Let me check chat.
Read away and I will start answering. Look at Sass is linking everything. He's so good at this.
Yeah. Is the Brewfest dungeon only for max levels? I have friends wanting to do Brewfest who don't have Legion, but can't seem to queue. I thought it scaled to level brackets.
No, it is 109 and 110.
Yeah, and in a recent interview that one of the developers did, people asked about holiday scaling. They asked if the tech for Legion invasions could be applied to holidays, and they said that this was a great idea, and they wanted to do it in the future.
Yeah, but it's not done now.
Right.
And even if they were to scale it, that's not necessarily... We don't know how far that would scale.
Yeah. Do we know yet if there's any follow-up to the Withered Army training scenario in 7.1? I worked hard to get all the upgrades for my army, and I'd like to know how I get to continue using them. There's the lore follow-up where the Withered Army training kicks ass, but I don't think there's any... The PTR is still pretty new, and I don't think there's anything new for Withered Army so far. It kind of has a pretty steep learning curve for people, so I don't think they want to keep adding stuff to it, but there are some world quests here and there in each zone which are new. There's a quest where Tehran tells you to put up like pamphlets around Suramar saying that Nightborn are, going to be destroyed to, spread discontent, but I don't think anything for Withered Army yet. Maybe there will be, but there's no data mined items that have your Wither do anything new.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. What is your favorite zone so far in Legion? I feel like I feel like this came up maybe 2 weeks ago, but we can answer it again. Maybe we've changed our minds. So, yeah, it's
My
pretty
favorite
obvious.
zone
Yeah,
is
yeah.
Valshara,
Okay.
for
Why is it
sure.
your favorite zone?
Because it's pretty and I want to live there.
Okay.
Like, it's just so lush and foresty. And okay, so weird. I'm an adult now and I hate going outside. Like, I'm not
Okay.
into going outside. I get sunburned in overcast weather. Like, I don't
Yeah.
like the elements. Like, I want to be in a climate controlled environment
But your
indoors. Like,
shaman is like, I am in this cave in the maelstrom that is
yeah.
sugar and
So,
fire.
but when I was a little kid, when I like played games, I played by myself a lot. Like, I just spent a lot of time by myself as a little kid, and every game I played was always that I was some sort of like woodland survivor. Like, I'm not necessarily saying I was an elf, but like all the games that I played and all the pretend things, I was always like, I would play outside and I would always like in my mind I lived in a tree and like I foraged for food and like so I feel like Valshara is like my childhood happy place. Like it just brings
That's
me
cool.
to a very like I just like being there. Like it's not a lore thing. It's just it's like it's so pretty and lush and foresty, but then there's like life and I feel like when you see the little buildings they often you could tell that they were a tree at one point or like a log
Yeah,
that
the
was tipped
buildings are
over.
very cozy. Like they have like
Yeah.
bookshelves and like plants
Like I
and
want to live
rugs and
there.
cute pillows. I would love like a home decor line of stuff from Broken Isles houses
Yes.
because some
Yes.
of that Valshara stuff is super pretty. Um,
Absolutely.
so my favorite zone is Suramar. I think last time I was asked, I
Yeah.
said Azuna because I was leveling up.
Yep.
And like Suramar is kind of the continuation of Azuna.
Yeah.
There's like so many cute details. I really like how Nightborn culture has evolved. I love that they have a zoo. I love that they have vineyards and they have very particular ways how they make it. I love how the vendors sell unique, fancy sounding hipster food that no one else in Azeroth sells. I love how there's paintings of Pepe. They have a menagerie that has birds. Um, they have an artist quarter with paintings and a
Yeah.
show going on. They have
It's
lots
so
of
big.
cute
It's a
little
whole city.
details.
Like it's a
Yeah.
kingdom. Like it's really like a lot of times we hear like city and we think of something like, Orgrimmar or Stormwind. But like Suramar is like a living city. It's not just a place that you go with vendors. It's like there's quests and there's NPCs and there's beds and there's dishes in
Yeah,
the
like
sink
there's
and
actually like a residential area, and it's so. I mean,
yeah.
not that it's like fun for my character, but like it's cool to be like, oh, this is like the suburb, and this is where
Yeah.
the aristocrats live, and like
Oh
this
yeah.
area doesn't mingle with this
It
area.
just really feels
Yeah,
like so much more realistic of a place. Like if even looking at something like Stormwind, like where do people actually live in Stormwind? They don't, right? It's
I
all
love
like shops
gondolas.
and
Yeah, like the Suramore canals are way much cooler than the Stormwind canals. Like
yeah.
you can fight a mob and then just peace out in a boat, and the boat just carries you away.
Bye
And the
guys.
gondolas go in different paths, like real ships. It's not predictable. Like you can just like explore the city just sitting in a gondola.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I think it's really cool. Also, how the Nightborn like have a very elaborate combat system, and they're very skilled. But they wall themselves off from the rest of the world, and they like leisure. They just like, oh, we're just good at combat. We're just sort of training for fun. But we don't actually want to do any of this. We're just relaxing in our elaborate mansions. So yeah, I think that they are, they're just really cool, and it's just the zone just being all purple and blue and grandiose is something. It's just a color scheme we haven't really seen before. Like the night elves are
Yeah.
more warm tones and trees, and they're kind of closer to the blood elves. The
Well,
blood elves
there's
are
definitely somewhere
red.
in between. They really hit that
Right.
in between spot, I think. Like they're not they did a good job of making them not night elves. Like
Right.
which I feel like would have been a really easy thing to do. And somebody asked me, and before it scrolls by in chat, somebody asked me where I got my wall-mounted warglaves. Those are just plastic, like children's costume. They were like
Yeah.
$18 a piece on Amazon, and they're just rested on long nails. Like nothing special is going on there. It looks better than like it really is in person, but they're just plastic. They're for like the children's Halloween costume. They were like $18 or $20 each. And then I also have the Lionheart Executioner and the Death Knight Initiate's Room Blade. So, but
Yeah.
they were really cheap, and I got them on Amazon, and I just used to like really like. I mean, the nails are like this long because they had to stick into studs and stuff. But I just put nails on the wall and like hung them. But
Yep.
that's it. So I think that's it for this week's show. We covered a lot. This has been like a 2-hour show today. So thank you so much to everybody who showed up and watched us and who watches this every week. Our show, if for those of you who maybe just showed up or are watching on the VOD, is every Friday at twitch.tv/wowhead at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then we always upload it to YouTube afterwards. Thanks so much to everybody who subscribes to our YouTube channel. And a bigger thanks to those of you who subscribe to us on Twitch. It directly supports the show. You get to use all of our cool emotes, which includes Ragey Panzer and Happy Perk and a Pepe and a Rocket. And also thank you to everybody who subscribes to Wowhead Premium, which is a premium service that removes all of the ads from Wowhead. It directly supports the site's content, and it lets you do cool things like customize your today on the Broken Isles. It lets you talk in a special color, all sorts of cool perks. Plus, it works on both mobile and desktop as long as you're signed in. So since we got all that out of the way, we are going to go. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Where's the button? There it is. Bye.